Guidance is internal. Ignition sequence starts. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Permission to board. Permission to come aboard. Permission to board. Permission to bring me aboard. Permission to come aboard.
Welcome to the Permission Granted podcast. Here's DA.
All right, welcome inside the freshest edition of the Permission Granted podcast, everybody. DA with you. And a little reminder that this is the show within the show podcast. So unlike all of our on-the-air stuff, a lot of this is off-the-air stuff, but we do play chunks of our interviews on the show as well. So this is your unedited versions of everything, if you will. Mraz will join me a little bit later, and then a little reminder, there's a million ways to get us in the Permission Granted podcast. You can get us on YouTube, youtube.com/The Show. On our SoundCloud page, as always, which you'll also find many of the best of little clips of a nightly basis. You can find it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Show, and on iTunes. All right, joining me now, a supremely funny guy who is completely blown up on the internet. He's a guy that began as a young man, putting funny videos online for a couple of his friends on Facebook, and it ended up just totally exploding. He has now 500,000 subscribers and fans on all of his social media accounts. His videos routinely get hundreds of thousands of views. The guy is officially an internet sensation. Funny man and native New Yorker Joe Santagato joins us here on the Permission Granted podcast. Joe, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad you said my last name right.
Well, as an Amendolara, Santagato is actually not too bad, but that's why I got to go by DA because nobody can pronounce Amendolara.
Yeah.
So how often do you get like Santiago?
Santiago is the one. They see S-A-N-T and they see a G and they're like, all right, it's Santiago. I'm not even going to read the rest of it.
Got to be Santiago.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. Everyone thinks I'm Spanish. I'm like, I'm not, just a white kid.
Before when I said you're an online sensation, how would I describe your job title here?
God, I was hoping you didn't ask me to explain that.
Okay, we can
no
skip
idea.
that.
No, I'm kidding. No, I have no idea. I mean, I make these videos on the internet. It's kind of like a stand-up sort of that's edited, and there's no like laughing.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah,
because it's just me in my room, just talking about whatever. But I've been posting those for about 3 years or 3 or 4 years. I have no idea.
Now, do you record them in what appears to be the same room a lot of the time? Is that your bedroom?
Yeah, I live.
So, because there's a staircase that goes down.
You're right. So I live in the basement,
okay,
right, of my mother's house. I'm 23 years old, and I'm aware of how that sounds. All right, but listen, give me a chance here. All right, I live there still because we're helping my mother pay for the house, and I'm on the deed now.
Okay,
so I got to stay there for 2 years because of the tax stuff. I don't know. I don't really pay attention, but so that's why I'm there.
Is that hard when you go out and you meet women and you say, come back to my parents' house?
No, not really, no.
No? Is there a separate entrance?
Oh, there is a separate entrance.
Do you use it often?
Well, I don't anymore. I have a girlfriend now for almost a year.
So, okay, the first time you told her that you lived at home, what was her reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She didn't care. There's a lot, you know what it is? I don't know. It's like 23 sounds old, and like to the older generation, it's like, dude, you're 23. Get the hell out of your parents' basement. But I don't know anyone my age or another year older that are like out. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what Mraz was telling me before. All of his friends, and Mraz, you're what, 27, 28 now?
28 now, yes.
28. All your friends, you graduate out in Babylon, Long Island, none of them have moved out of the house.
No, matter of fact, I'm the only one that pretty much has, and I moved 6 houses away from my parents.
And exactly. So I guess this is a thing in New York where rent's so damn high, nobody can afford it.
It's ridiculous. I mean, my girlfriend used to live in the city, and she moved out. She moved to Bayside, but she used to live in the city. Her rent was like $3,500. I'm like, what are you paying that for?
For a one-bedroom?
No, it was like a 2-bedroom, but it was $35. I'm like, yo,
God.
You're insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she got the hell out of there.
That's good. And is she living with you?
No, she's not. No, hell no.
No, hell no.
Not yet. No.
So you actually you started doing these videos and it kind of blew up and now you have your own merchandise and they're getting millions of views. You said you had put a video on Facebook and YouTube and it got a couple of likes and you're like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just built from there.
Yeah. I've always had like an interest in it. And me and my friend Frankie, when we were younger, we had this camera that recorded on cassette tapes. So if you wanted to edit that, you had to just rewind and record over it, like real old school stuff. Yeah. So we did that for a while, and then I just thought nothing of it. And then I started making these videos with just me and my friends, like getting drunk at my friend's summer house, and I was like, figured out how to edit, and I just put those out, and some people liked them. And then one day I picked it up, and I was like, let me just do like a rant real quick about something, and I did one of those, and like 40 people liked it on Facebook. So I was like, oh, 40
people.
Yeah. I was like, you gotta be kidding. So I did it again the next week, and like more people seemed to like it, and I just kind of was doing it.
So have you found a way to monetize this well? Because that's the one thing, you can get a lot of views on YouTube, and they'll give you like a slight allowance if you get enough clicks or whatnot. Right. If you own the website yourself, or you're represented by somebody, you can make a little bit of money. But have you been able to figure out a way to monetize the popularity? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, the videos, they are monetized themselves through Google. And they pay nice, with the amount of views that I get, fortunately.
Nice.
It pays nice.
Nice.
And also there's certain brands that'll hit you up for like integrations if you want to do something like, oh yeah, here's your deodorant or whatever. But like, I've never done like a stupid thing like that. But like, and whenever I get something like that, I try to make the video somehow based around it, so it's not just like random. Right. It's like, oh, here's my video. Oh, by the way, here's a set of forks that you should buy. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
So, as a guy that is now in the video game, is a group like Lonely Island or the Andy Samberg and the SNL digital shorts, that's something that kind of inspired you when you were growing up and watching SNL?
Well, me and my friend Frankie, who I mentioned before, I've known that kid since pre-K, and like all we've ever known was SNL, and like we loved it. And Lonely Island's great, and Andy Samberg, but they're like more so, like even like later, you know what I mean? Like when I was growing up, they weren't necessarily like on the show, and like wasn't the episodes I was watching or whatever. But I mean, I guess I wasn't really influenced by them. It was kind of just because the internet was like a new thing when I was growing up. I didn't have a computer at first, and then you get one, and then you're kind of just figuring out. And I feel like now a lot of people are getting this popularity off of these apps and just like YouTube and stuff like that. So I kind of just put my foot in the water, and then kind of just was testing it out, and then kind of now I know what I'm doing. I
love some of the titles of your videos. If we just go down some of the more recent ones.
Oh, God.
I'm a Bad Person.
Yeah.
Ask Joe Santagato, Part 6, which is sounds very good. Idiots of the Internet. That's great. How Hood is My Mom. That sounds really great. How to Lose Your Virginity. Solid.
Yeah.
And then we get to things like 10 things you didn't know about vaginas.
Yeah.
And 6 things you didn't know about dicks.
Right.
So how do you decide on your topics for the day?
Here's the thing, right? People ask me all the time. They're like, how do you come up with ideas for your topics?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have no... I ran out of topics 2 or 3 years ago. I have no idea. Like, I have a video today that I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm doing yet. But I have to put it out by 9 o'clock, so I got to rush home and just start filming. But that's the thing. Like, the topic is the hardest part. I could talk about a napkin for 8 days if you need me to. But the topic is the hardest part. But right now what I've been doing is just kind of taking funny things that you see on the internet. That's why that video you talked about, Idiots of the Internet.
Yep.
That segment is kind of just people who are tweeting and posting like the dumbest things. And I'm kind of just like showing it to people and then going off about it. So I've been doing stuff like that recently.
Have you been intrigued by doing stand-up or doing like structured comedy like that?
I am. I think that's a completely different thing. It's not completely different because it's kind of what I do, except it's like harder, I want to say. And I definitely will venture into that eventually. And a lot of people have been asking, like, dude, you gotta like tour or something. I want to see you live. So that's definitely something I'm going to be working on. I haven't done it yet, but definitely in the future for sure.
So for those that might be unfamiliar that are listening to us with your work, you're on YouTube, obviously, and your videos are really, really popular. What's kind of a goal when you post a video? How many views do you want to get?
This is the thing. Like, I don't know if this sounds bad, but I just really don't care. Like, I don't care how they do. And that's what I try to tell people, because a lot of people hit me up and they're like, hey, I'm trying this out. Like, do you have any advice? And I'm like, you really just have to make something that you think is good and like the closest 3 people to you.
Yeah.
Like, just make it your goal to make them laugh and like, don't worry about the rest. Like, it'll take care of itself. So I kind of just make videos that I'm like, I don't want to try to appeal to anyone because I feel like that's when you lose yourself. You just got to like make what you think is good and funny and is going to entertain like a variety of people and just put that out. So when I put it out, like my brother loves the numbers. He's like, yo, you did 100 this overnight and blah, blah, blah. And like, I'm just like, yeah, I didn't know. I didn't have no idea. So he like keeps track of that.
Well, the numbers are remarkable because, I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of page views. Some have 500,000 page views. I mean, these are huge, huge numbers.
Right.
And I think probably when you're at that level and you're instead of talking about 100 clicks versus 700 clicks, you're talking about 500,000 versus 600,000. You know, what's the number at that point, right?
Right.
It's just so huge.
It's not even, I mean, it really is me just being like, I'm just doing this. I just want to be good. Like, I don't necessarily want, I'm not like shooting for the numbers or anything. Like, I really just want to be good. I want someone who's really funny and that I respect as a comedian or whatever to be like, this is good. And it's not just like, he's just appealing to an audience to get the views. You know what I mean?
Is calling you an internet sensation a compliment, or do you find that to be kind of like a trivial, trite title?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I have no idea. When people say internet sensation, like my friends do that all the time with like people we meet, like, oh, this kid, he's famous. And I'm like, can you not say things like that? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like weird. I'm not that type of person. I'm like, yeah, I am a sensation. Yeah. Like a sensation. Like that's a heavy word. I don't know about that.
So do chicks dig the internet sensations?
The chicks do. The chicks do dig an internet sensation, I suppose.
I know you're a huge Giants fan.
Yeah.
So would you like to talk about the loss against the Eagles on Monday night, or would you rather avoid that topic?
That game really affected me. You know, it's like I was really upset because I think we gave the game away. There was a lot of stupid turnovers, and you know there was like a roughing the passer call that was just awful. I forgot. I think he was telling me it was Jenkins. I think. He like clubbed him with his arm or something. I was like, dude, it's football. Like, you know what I mean? Can we hit someone without? I don't know.
Not
but we gave the game
quarterback.
away. But the thing is, though, the Giants. I was saying it. Like before the season, I didn't really have high expectations because our defense was in shambles, and I was like, if we win 4 games, I'm gonna be psyched. So the first week when we played Dallas, we looked really good, and I was like, all right. Like,
maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, some of the people are playing well. You know, it's working out. And when we lost that game on that stupid play, I was like, I literally had my head down on my dining room table for 45 minutes and didn't talk. Literally for 45 minutes, I was so upset. But last Monday, I was really upset because I feel like we gave the game away. But I was also like, all right, because that was the first game that I think we played really bad. Every other game, I think the Giants played well and you know kind of gave away a couple stupid plays. This whole game was a disaster.
How hard is it to root for Eli Manning? Because there are times he looks sensational, like the end of that Niners game and like the Super Bowls. And there are times like Monday night when he tries to fumble forward underhand like it's candlepin bowling, the football.
Yeah, I've been a Giants fan long enough to know that Eli is good for 1 or 2 of those a game.
Yeah.
Like he makes crazy throws and all these comebacks, but like once or twice a game, he's going to roll out and try to throw it lefty. Or he's going to throw a pick right to like a defensive lineman, and he's going to run it back for a touchdown.
Not know the time of the game, not know the timeout situation, not know something.
There was literally a time we were watching a game, and Giants picked it off, and I was like, we're either going to throw a pick here, or he's going to throw a touchdown. And it was a pick 6. And I was like, I know, it's happening.
It was both, actually. He threw the pick and the touchdown. It was just the other way.
It was terrible, man.
Yeah, that's the existence of a Giants fan. So where were you watching the Super Bowls?
There was a local bar near my house, and a bunch of my buddies, we went there. And
the first one, you must have been like 15, 16?
What?
The first Super Bowl?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how old I was.
Okay. But I'm saying you didn't go to a local bar at 15.
No. Oh, the first Super Bowl you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, the first. I watched both Super Bowls at my house.
Oh.
Both times, one of my friends, he's a Patriots fan, and he was there for both of them.
You must have loved that.
Oh, my God. Just in his face. An inch from his face, just screaming at him.
Were you just relentless?
Yeah, I was. Still, to this day.
Did he punch you?
No, he didn't. He just sat there. He's like, I don't...
Stab you with a knife?
It's like, what can you do? I would have fought me if I was him. That's what I would have done. Dude, if my team loses in the Super Bowl like that, oh, man.
To ruin a perfect season.
Right.
Could you imagine?
And then the second time, I really would have murdered my friend. And totally went to jail with a smile on my face.
So I know your mom's a big part of your videos. Does she watch all of them? Like when you talk about the things you need to know about vaginas, does she watch that? I think she does. Sometimes, like, she'll text me and be like, "Hey, I watched the video. I'm so proud of you. Good stuff." But then I guess videos like 10 things you didn't know about vaginas, she'll just kind of let that text slide and be like, You know what? Sure. I'm not going to let him guess if I watch this or not. So, what's the biggest thing that people don't know about dicks?
I got to remember that video, man, because a lot of that I looked up.
That's a while ago.
I looked up. Yeah, I looked that up and I was like, all right, I didn't know any of this stuff. I think I actually say that in the video. I was like, I didn't know any of this. But, yeah, it was crazy. I know that, like, dicks have half the amount of nerve endings as vaginas do.
Oh, okay.
We have half the amount, or not even half. It's like less than half.
Wow.
And I was saying, like, imagine we had the same amount. Sex would be, what, 3 minutes? Like, maybe less? It would be, thank God we have less than half.
Now, you use your mom in these. Do you ever say, hey, you want to use your girlfriend in these? And she goes, no way, I'm not being part of this?
No, I mean, I just haven't asked her yet. I mean, a lot of the times in my videos, like, I'll have an idea the day of, and I'm like, all right, I got to shoot this. And then I shoot it, and then I'm like, I need someone else for this. So whoever's closest will kind of be in it, or I'll have to text one of my friends who like lives close, like, dude, I got to just come over real quick for this. But the ones with my mom, those I kind of like plan out. I'm like, all right, let's try to get mom in here and try to, do this.
Give her the scene. Give her like the script.
And I don't even tell her what the video's about beforehand. I just like, Mom, I need you real quick. Can you sit on the couch? I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions. She's like, okay. And I put the cameras on and I start asking her questions about football. And she's like, what? She's like, I don't know. Yeah.
It's awesome. All right. So you can check out Joe's website, which is, he's got everything there. He's got the merchandise. He's got his links to everything. He's got the Ask Joe Santagato page. You get a lot of questions there that you use on your videos.
Yeah.
So you can check that out. That's Santagato.com. Not hard to get that URL.
Right.
Santagato.com. I'm saying when you bought it.
Yeah, because no one has that last
Nobody
name.
had that. No, Santagato.com was definitely available.
Yeah, it was Santagato 1, 2, 3. All of them were available.
Santagato, yeah. You didn't need to do that. And then also just find him on YouTube as well, Joe Santagato. You'll see that on YouTube. That's the handle there. And we'll also tweet this out from our account so you guys know where to find Joe. Joe, a lot of fun, man. We enjoy your stuff around here a lot, and it was cool to have you drop by.
Thanks for having me, man.
You got it. So thanks to Joe Santagato for joining us here on the show, on the Permission Granted podcast. And Mraz joins me now. It's a very big moment for Mraz. This is a very big week for Mraz and I. From my standpoint, this is a huge week because for the first time in 15 years, the Mets are in the World Series. From Mraz's standpoint, this is a huge week because for the first time, maybe ever, he was a guest on a afternoon drive time show in a major market. Mraz, I heard you just did the Ben and Skin show over at 105.3 Our Friends in Dallas.
Yes, I did. Must have been a really tough booking week for them that they had to resort to me.
Sounds kind of like how sometimes you book our show.
Pretty much.
Like, who might be the easiest guy to get? Let's just slap him in there, send a text, and let's see if we can get that second guest in.
The funniest part was I was followed up by Cole Beasley on the show. So that was a back-to-back, was Mraz and Cole Beasley.
This is the first time you've been in a major market on an interview. I know you did Dallas Saturday. This was a Monday through Friday afternoon drive. Yes. When you went down there for Giants Cowboys. So why did they reach out to you to do the hit?
Well, it was DA show oriented. Okay. And they wanted to get a little national perspective. And they felt like mine and your social media attacks on Greg Hardy were a little unwarranted and tried to bring a little awareness as to just the leader Greg Hardy is. And basically, there was no talking sense into these people. They're none. They're crazy down there.
But why do they feel you could be more easily railroaded, I guess?
I think they must have thought that. Like, DA's on NFL Network or whatever, we can at least corner Mraz. But they did a little bit, but I punched back. I felt that was the way they went there.
What were they trying to hammer home?
Basically, like, he's a leader. Jerry Jones and Garrett believe in his leadership. He had one bad moment. The national media shouldn't be all over him. National shows shouldn't be all over him. And it got to the point where I'm bringing up examples of how he's just not. And it was just one of those, you know what, guys? Okay, believe what you want. You're done.
Well, that's interesting because I like both Ben and Skin. They've joined us on our show before. They're good dudes. I always thought of them as pretty independent thinkers as well. What were they arguing? I mean, it seems like the most obvious thing is that Greg Hardy is a total tool.
Right. The big selling argument at the end was, Buddy Ryan punched Kevin Gilbride. And look, even the Bears thought Buddy Ryan was a great leader. He got carried over their shoulders when they won a Super Bowl. My line back was something to the effect of, when Greg Hardy wins a Super Bowl, let's see the Cowboys carrying him off on their shoulders. I mean, they're trying to they kept bringing up Lawrence Taylor, all these examples of bad guys in past, and now it's just Greg Hardy that's being railroaded by the national media.
Huh. That's interesting. I did not think that they would go there.
I didn't either.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, so I don't mind anybody who has a different opinion than mine. But
it's like the whole packet of Dallas-Fort Worth with this Greg Hardy thing all has this collective mind on the situation, and the rest of the country, they're all wrong.
Although, no, we had R.J. Choppy on last night.
He was pretty down the middle.
And he was pretty fair.
Well, R.J. Choppy's from Jersey. He also has a straight head on his shoulders.
Well, so I don't understand why they would bring up LT. LT never fought his coaches. Like, it's one thing to argue about bad guys in the NFL, and there has been many. So
right.
Greg Hardy's one of many. But it's rare that we ever see a guy on the field out of control and cannot be handled by his coaches. And when you combine that with being a bad guy, then you're like, well, why would you ever even defend him? There's nothing to defend besides his football.
Exactly. And their whole point was, his initial point of going into the huddle was truly inspirational. That was the comment. And then it got out of hand. And he had a bad moment.
It got out of hand that he fought.
That's what I kept saying. He spiked a clipboard out of a coach's hand. That's okay. Jerry Jones coming out afterwards and talking about contract extension. That's okay. I mean, I don't. The Cowboy fans are living on a different planet and then trying to tell us they've lost 4 in a row, but, the season's very much alive when Romo comes back. I got news for you, Dallas. I understand the NFC stinks. Romo's not winning every game when he comes back either.
No, but, I mean, that's closer to reality. I mean, when Romo does come back, their season actually turns a page. They just have to hope that they're not too far out of it.
Right, exactly. They're on planet something else this week.
Well, do we think that this would be any fan base? That any fan base would defend their dude like this?
I think every fan base to an extent is blind about their certain team. However, I know this isn't as bad as this, but I could just tell from a Giants fan perspective. We have DeMontre Moore, who's an idiot. We call him the idiot now, who did that terrible personal foul penalty on Monday night versus the Eagles. It was a rough in the passer. He was an idiot. Every Giant fan wanted him benched. He got benched. You didn't hear one Giant fan defend him going, well, I liked his passion going in there and sending a message to the Eagles. We all wanted the guy benched. I know Greg Hardy, what he did was far worse. It's just have some kind of, it's okay to admit a guy's a bad guy and you want to see him, taught a lesson. I don't understand this.
Well, I think what ends up happening is Cowboys fans are grasping for straws. They don't have a lot to cheer about. Greg Hardy obviously is effective on the football field. If he wasn't effective, they'd be more easily persuaded to throw dirt on him. DeMontre Moore is just not the player that Greg Hardy is. But here's what is weird. Greg Hardy's been a Cowboy officially for 3 games now. Is that
6
right?
minutes, something like that.
It's 3 games, I think.
Actually, only 2.
Suspended for the first 4. Oh, they're 2 and 4.
Yeah.
So he's played 2 games. I don't understand the defense of this guy. It's like if this was Jason Witten, Tony Romo, even Des Bryant, Michael Irvin, hey, those guys won you big games. Those guys have been lifelong Cowboys. To defend a guy that's been on your team for 2 games, that would seem like, what do you care? I mean, you could call him out.
Exactly. And by the way, this isn't the first time they do this. Just 2 weeks ago, they had to talk to him about his social media and all that stuff when he's calling out Giselle and making those comments. Then that rap video came out that he had made earlier, and the Cowboys had to come out and kind of throw. It's every week, it's something else, and this Greg Hardy thing is just progressing again, and they're just covering up for it week by week by week. The guy's a bad guy. He's no good for your team. I know you drafted Randy Gregory to be a big pass rusher. It's not like you don't have pass rushers.
Huh. Well, that's disturbing. It's disturbing because when something is this obvious, you would just hope that people would have clarity on it. And I'm not asking everybody to think the same way, but it's such an obvious thing. The dude is not a good guy. He's been on your team for 10 minutes. That's clearly not what you want. Very obviously, no coach wants that. And even Jason Garrett finally had to admit that today.
Right.
That we'll have to find a way to channel it. So it's an indefensible action. Why go to any great lengths to rationalize it?
It doesn't make any sense to me, DA. Any sense.
Well, the big news is that you got an afternoon drive spot there.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, at the end, they said I crawled up into the fetal position. I didn't like that little comment, but what are you going to do?
Because you had conceded?
Yeah, but I conceded to the point where, it was, you're not getting through to these guys. You know what I mean? It was one of those, okay, yeah, great. Whoop-de-doo.
They don't strike me as the type of guys that berate anybody, though.
They definitely didn't want to bring you in. They knew what they were doing. They had their pick of the litter. They brought the inexperienced rookie in for that spot.
Well, okay. Interesting.
Hey, you take it, though.
So this is a big week for me.
Yeah, I know. The Mets are here. Here we go.
The Mets are in the World Series, and I still really kind of can't believe it. And I think this is going to sound terrible. It almost still doesn't register because they're playing the Royals. So it's like these two impossible worlds are colliding. Because I was also in Kansas City when the Royals were trash. So had they been playing the Red Sox, maybe it might feel a little bit more real. Who would be a better example? Like the Tigers have been very good. Who have been an American League team that's been consistently very good over the last decade?
The Angels, the Rangers, teams like that.
Yeah, the
Yankees.
Rangers were in the 2 World Series. Yeah, it would be like, okay, the Mets came out of the National League, and here's this team out of the American League that's always there, a regular contender. When it's the Royals, and they've only really been good for 2 years, it's still like even last year's World Series doesn't quite seem like it happened, right? Because it was the Royals in Game 7 against the San Francisco Giants.
Right, and we talk about parity. If we were sitting here in 2010 and said, all right, fast forward 5 years in Major League Baseball, 2015 World Series, Royals, Mets, you would sit there and laugh hysterically and go, what are you talking about?
No chance.
No, those two teams may not make another World Series in my lifetime. Now, both of them are going to be there?
Like, what would be the equivalent 5 years from now to say Royals, Mets? The 2020 World Series.
I got it, I think.
Okay.
Twins, Padres.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's in the mix. I was even going to go Marlins, but the Marlins have won 2 World Series.
Right.
How about, like Brewers, Mariners?
Oh.
Boy,
Fox would love that if they had a contract.
That's what you're kind of talking about. 2 teams, but the Mariners are actually pretty good.
Right.
So, yeah.
But it's not even just about the team being, it's about the franchise, too.
Having never been there or rarely getting there.
Right, exactly. I mean, this is the Mets and the Royals.
Long droughts.
Well, I'm actually happy it's not Mets Red Sox because, I mean, at least I have some kind of rooting interest here. I could root for Kansas City. Long-suffering fan base.
We're just as long-suffering with the Mets fan base.
1 year less.
1 year fewer, that's true. Yes. No, it's fun. It's amazing. And I had forgotten what it was like to emotionally be with a baseball team, game in, game out, pitch in, pitch out, because I haven't seen a meaningful pitch of baseball. And this sounds kind of, this sounds like I'm very spoiled because it's only been like 8 years. But really, in 2007, the Mets played meaningful baseball in September. They just didn't get all the way there. In 2006, they were in the NLCS. But it's almost been about a decade that I really remember watching every pitch, and it mattered. But there are other teams that have been far longer droughts than that. But I have to imagine this is a lot like how you experienced the Rangers.
Crazy. Yep.
And this is how I watched Boston experience the Bruins run. That every slap shot, because basketball is so different. Basketball, you really don't have to watch the first half.
You could really, last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, it's usually in the good big games, it's tied up and it's going to come down to the end.
Even though the last 5 minutes, you could extrapolate that and say you should really watch at least the full last fourth quarter, but probably the second half, because if the last 5 minutes you're up by 9, it's just free throws.
That's true.
In baseball and in hockey, you cannot kill the clock.
No, every pitch, every minute matters.
And in football as well, if you have a 17-point lead, it's almost done. I mean, granted with onside kick, but it's almost done. You can salt it away. In hockey and in baseball, there's no lead that's insurmountable.
You got to play on.
You have to just be there every pitch, and it's crazy. It's the most nerve-wracking possible experience. I have to imagine this is what giant hockey fans feel like every shift of the postseason.
The last 2, I should say 3 of the last 4 deep Ranger playoff runs, because before that, the Rangers had gone 10 years without making the playoffs, remember, forever. Yeah, you're gnawing on a towel you saw me with the towels. You're gnawing on that. Your heart's in your throat. And you sit there, and at times you want to ask yourself, well, why am I going through this aggravation? Do I need this kind of stress? And you realize, well, that's the kind of stress you want. You don't want the everyday stress. It's a nice release from everyday life. It's fun, man. You got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy the stresses that come with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you don't have a baseball team that's been in October, it's really hard to put your mind around it, and you have to be refreshed on that every so often, because you can't feel the same way about this stuff if you don't have a dog in the fight.
I totally agree. Because on this baseball, now I'm just like, I don't like the Met fans, except for you, so I'm pretty much, that's my rooting interest. But yeah, with the Yankees out, I'm like, who cares? That's kind of my mindset.
Just before you did your radio hit today, you were struck in the face by a sponge ball by Jay Berman.
Yes.
And I missed it because I just walked into the newsroom.
It hurt so bad. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't do that in front of coworkers.
How close was he?
He was like 2 feet, and he acted like he was just trying to buzz me, like throw it past me, but he literally drilled me in the back of the cranium. Like,
in the back of the head. I thought the face.
It was like 3/4. It was like if you had corner end zone seats on the head. It was one of those. But yeah, he threw it like 99 miles an hour. And the only reason he has stress balls, by the way, is because today they had some health fair here where they were giving out free massages. And all you had to do was write down your email. And then if you did the massage, they gave you a stress ball to hold on to. So for some reason, Berman had 2. I think he went for 2 massages today. And now he's throwing around balls in the newsroom.
That's a real Berman type move, going in for 2 massages.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think he did because he said there was 2 different kinds of women that he had.
What does that mean?
Well, he had an Asian woman and a Caucasian woman.
Okay.
He was telling me which one pressed harder.
I thought you were going to say one was a firm grip and one was...
No.
No, it was the actual race.
He was going with races and which one of them had the grips. He didn't get their names, of course.
Okay, which one had the better grip?
The Asian woman.
Okay. Do I buy National League pennant merchandise or do I wait to see if they win the World Series? And then backtrack if they don't.
Take this from a guy who now has bought plenty between the Giants, Yankees runs, and the Rangers.
You've done this a lot.
And I made this mistake 2 years ago when I bought Rangers Eastern Conference Championship stuff. I am in full support if you want to buy like the step before the World Series or whatever championship, because I still think that's an accomplishment. You don't see that all the time. However, if you haven't already bought it and the World Series is starting now, wait, because I got news for you. In a week, that stuff is half the price it is now anyway. They'll still have everything, and you'll be spending half the amount. That's the way I would go. Save your money.
I was online this weekend, and I was looking through all these hoodies that were like the pennant hoodies and the October hoodies, and I'm like, I need to make sure it's not too specific that we haven't won the World Series.
Right.
Because if we do, I would never wear that anymore. But if we don't, I want to make sure that it's still eligible for wearing. But then I was like, let me just see what happens.
It is true, because I do have a Rangers like Stanley Cup practice jersey from 2 years ago that I wear. I wore it to a game last year, and somebody killed me for it.
Really?
We lost the cup, you know.
Really?
I said, well, it still was fun to be in it, wasn't it? So be careful.
My girlfriend last night said, did Mraz really get Febrezed by Danielle?
I did. The magical mist on my bare back. It was something else to behold.
Because you had eaten so much disgusting stuff and you had farted all night that you smoked her out of the bed.
I smoked her out. And the dog, too.
She had to Febreze you.
Literally woke up. I thought I woke up in a rainforest. I didn't know what was going on.
She was just Febrezing you.
Febrezing me. Yelling that my ass stinks at the top of the lungs, waking up the tenants.
We'll leave you on that note. Coming up here next, the side B of the Permission Granted podcast.
All right, welcome into Side B of the PGP, and a very special Permission Granted podcast as me, Sean Mraz, your executive producer of the DA show, known Met hater, welcome in 2 lifelong Met fans to the program, our associate producer, Jolton Joe D'Aloisio, and our cast-off update anchor, who we haven't seen on the DA show in quite some time, Mr. Jay Berman, are in the house.
By the way, everybody should know I am no bench guy. I'm a starter.
And you're starting on this podcast, Jay. It's great to have you back.
Whatevs, bro.
Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Mraz World Series ready to kick off. Very excited.
It is World Series week. DA is raring to go as a Met fan, as we know.
DA working it all this week, or is he prepping for the big game?
He will be here, except for the week. He will not be in on Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the Met home games in a house. But
by the way, tremendous job by DA negotiating his contract, getting 342 days off this year. Tremendous job by him.
Let's be honest. I mean,
there it is. Let's be honest. By the way, did you notice that Sean Mraz starts pretty much everything he says with "Let's be honest"?
You do say it's a crunch of me, right? Or a crutch? What is
Not
it?
a crunch, a crutch.
We've been over this on the podcast before, and I never get it right. Well, Jay, to be fair to DA, he always is the one filling in for Gottlieb or Rome during the summer when everybody else is off. Second of all,
yeah, like that's some kind of terrible thing. Does he get the $40 extra for the TV hit?
And Jay just comes out derailing this podcast. Second of all, he is doing the Sunday show, which I'm sure probably gives him some extra days.
Crimea River.
Anyway, I'm very, very pleased that he gets to go experience his Mets in the World Series. I hope you guys all lose, but I wanted to captivate you guys and see how you guys are feeling entering World Series week. You guys fired up or what?
I'm as confident as I've ever been in this Mets squad.
Really, Joe?
100%.
It still doesn't feel real to me. I think it won't hit me until I see that first pitch on Tuesday.
Very interesting. You guys like Matt Harvey starting Game 1?
No problems with it. He's not the Game 7 starter. Everybody
It'd
gets
be DeGrom in Game 7?
No, it would be Syndergaard in Game 7.
Oh, DeGrom starting Game 2. It's a bad job.
It would be, well, this is what the rotation is. Harvey, DeGrom, Syndergaard, Matz. So there would be Harvey in 5, DeGrom in 6, Syndergaard in 7.
Interesting.
Simple math, ladies. Simple math.
Interesting. And you guys have no problem with the rotation. So what are yours? What's your official prediction here? I'm going Royals in 6.
Thinking with your heart there, buddy.
No,
huh?
I'm thinking with my head. I'm just going to pick the better team in
I'll
this
say
spot.
Mets in 5.
Mets in 6.
Mets in 5. Benny Agbayani. All right, well, there's twofold here. I got to ask you guys, with all due respect, why have Met fans been so sensitive this entire playoff run with people like me kind of bashing them?
I don't know who you're talking about. I'm not sensitive.
You have not been, but you know the majority of your fan base has.
Don't tell me what I know. Give me examples. I honestly don't know what you're talking about. I'm being sincere, and please don't tell me that I know a
you
certain
know how
thing
Met
that you
fans
think.
acted.
That's the stupidest thing you could say. Don't tell me what I know about what you think. That's just insane.
Jay has a dimple going off in the middle of his head. He got really aggravated there. Perfect examples. Friday night after the Royals clinched the pennant.
You're going to bring up some schlub.
No. I'm actually going to bring up DA
Hold
here.
on. You are the biggest troll on Twitter, and that's why you get abused on Twitter.
Time out.
So you're bringing up random guys that we don't even know that happen to follow you on Twitter and respond to a troll tweet?
I was going to bring up. I was going to bring up
total
DA.
idiot.
I was going to bring up DA because I tweeted that I loved being a fan of the last team that beat the Mets in the World Series, and now Kansas City gets that honor.
Dude,
and
you didn't become a Yankee fan since 2009 when they bought that championship.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, dude. Me and my dad used to sit on the couch together and watch Yankees. That's how we bonded.
I guess Cespedes trade. Yeah, that's not buying a championship. You're right. Good
what
point.
did they pay? What did they pay for him?
They paid a trade. I'm sure they're paying his salary the rest of the year, aren't they?
I don't understand how that's purchasing
Well,
similar
he's the one
to
who got
purchasing
you there.
AJ Burnett, Mark Teixeira, CC Sabathia, and spending $250 million in one winter session.
I guess Jeter and Rivera and Posada weren't homegrown, right?
I mean, this is just such a tangent. Finish your thought. I'm ready to punch you in the face.
All right. Well, speaking of getting punched in the face, another reason I want to have Jay in here is the fact that he is a fraud, Joe. Did you know this?
Why is he a fraud?
Well, the Mets are in the World Series, and Jay is now trekking up to Boston for a wedding Sunday night in which he will not get to see the Mets. And a game that the Mets, if his prediction is accurate, would win the World Series, he would not be able to see it because he'd be at a masquerade ball.
Hey, jerk.
Yeah.
It's called Slingbox, which I did in the wedding I had last weekend, which was awful.
So you're going to sit there with your phone at a table?
Well, what would you like me to do? Not watch it?
Not go to the wedding. Who's who's getting married?
A friend from home, a guy I grew up with, one of the people I've known the longest in my life.
And have you given him crap, like maybe you should postpone the wedding here?
No, I haven't given him crap because I don't really speak to him.
But are you happy with the fact that, are you excited for the wedding?
No, I'm freaking pissed off.
Would you have been excited for the wedding had it not been a Mets World Series
No,
game?
I would have complained the entire time.
And on top of it being a Mets World Series, he's getting married on a football Sunday in late October?
Yeah, I'm going to miss Giants Saints as well.
I mean,
I'll be in commute for Giants Saints.
And you're not going to miss Saturday night's game?
Well, let me just tell you this, okay? Because you guys are my dearest friends.
It says something about your life.
Yeah, it does. Saturday night is the rehearsal dinner, which I've been invited to.
Okay, Applebee's?
No. Bailed on it.
You bailed on the rehearsal dinner?
Pulled right out.
Well, the rehearsal dinner you would think would be at a bar where you could watch the game. That'd be less likely to bail. What if you went to the rehearsal dinner and said, I can't come to the wedding?
See, now call me a fraud again. I pulled out because max one game missed.
Okay, that's a good job.
So am I still a fraud?
Yeah, because you still
lovely person?
You still shouldn't go to the wedding, or you go for cocktail hour and pull out after.
I don't pull out.
Jay,
you just said you pulled out.
Joe, if you had a wedding in a spot, are you going to the wedding?
It depends on who the wedding's for, honestly.
Not a family member. It's a friend.
I'm probably still going to the wedding. I'm probably doing the same exact thing Jay was doing.
See, you guys are ridiculous.
You are honestly.
You got to watch the game at all costs.
I wish that you were. This is what you should be for Halloween. This is how I'll say this. This is what you should be for Halloween: a piñata, and then invite me over, and I will smack the crap out of you.
Is that nice? Is that nice?
No, it's not nice. Because you know what else you do when you troll? Is you troll with a straight face. So you want people to think that you're being serious.
What are you, my
Joe
psychiatrist?
Why don't you shut up for a second?
You're leading the podcast.
The day of Mets-Dodgers Division Series Game 5, you take off your Yankee hoodie to reveal the T-shirt you put on today was a Yankee Don Mattingly jersey.
I'm wearing my Yankee stuff because I'm a real
pretty
fan.
much the lamest thing you could possibly wear and purchase.
No.
You whip out the Don Mattingly one and then go into this dumb tirade about how you just looked over there and that was the T-shirt. And then later, after the Mets beat the Dodgers, you admitted that you did it just to be a troll.
I realized after I put it on that I was being a troll, but it was a Yankee shirt. It wasn't a Dodger
shirt. You knew the entire time that you were being a troll. You looked yourself in the mirror that morning, you giggled and said, I'm doing
We got to pull this back. In 2009, 96, 98, 99, 2000, heck, we can go through every playoff run. Were you guys rooting for the Yankees?
Absolutely not. I despise the Yankees. There's very few things on this earth I hate as much as the Yankees.
So why am I getting the heat?
Because you have everything. Why would you hate the Mets? I don't want you to love the Mets.
Because you guys hate the Yankees.
No, but that's the stupidest reason.
So because I have everything and you guys hate the Yankees, that means now I got to be the nice guy.
No, I don't want you to like the Mets, but there's no reason for you to have the vitriol towards the Mets that I do have towards the Yankees.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Because you guys act arrogant with no money in the bank.
Arrogant?
Yeah. Mets fans have acted arrogant all year.
How?
You've acted arrogant. Look at all the pitching we have, man. We're going to win the World Series.
Look at all the pitching we have.
What do you mean, chirp, chirp, chirp? We are going to win the World Series, you jerk.
Good. I'm pulling that. I'm racking that for when the Royals
Rack it up.
beat you.
Mets in 5. I'm telling you right now, the Mets have absolutely a better team than the Royals.
Good. Mets in 5. Enjoy watching on your 3-inch phone because that's how you're going to experience winning the World Series.
This is the 6+, Joey.
A little bigger than 3 inches.
I went for the video.
That makes you feel good, huh?
Does it make me feel good? And it doesn't make me feel anything.
Will you guys be at the parade if the Mets win?
Hells, we are both. You know what? Roughly a week from now, Joe, D, and I, D-Cell, Pierno, the whole gang, D.A.
You're going to all go to the parade?
We got a little parade to attend.
While you're here rotting, eating nachos.
No, you know what? No, because the parade will be in the morning. I'll go to the parade in my Yankee stuff.
With your little bourbon chicken and broccoli that Danielle made for you that...
Actually, I made it.
Yeah.
Actually,
you probably did it in your underwear again, didn't you?
I did.
You cook in your underwear. I know you do.
I made it in my underwear. What's the big deal? It's fabric.
There is no big deal. It's just disgusting.
It's not disgusting. At all. At all.
With your wife beater and your underwear, you know? And the fruit out of the loom, you're cooking up bourbon chicken, stinking up the place.
I welcome you guys into the podcast because I was trying to have a nice...
Your podcast?
Yeah, Side B, that's controlled by me, okay? And I tried to have a peaceful conversation because your team's in the World Series. And again, you jumped down the Yankee fans' throat. And you're giving the Royals no respect in this series either.
That's ridiculous. I never said the Royals weren't good. Remind me of the time I said the Royals weren't good. I'm just telling you right now,
Picking
the Mets are better.
How are the Mets better? And what, other than starting pitching, how are the Mets better?
Other than starting pitching, what else do you need to be better in?
Royals, better bullpen, better lineup, better team defense.
They don't have a better
lineup.
Speed. They have better speed, better team defense, better bullpen. They do not have a better lineup. They don't. If Duda has turned the corner, I don't know if he has. It's a big if because he was so bad for so long. But if he turned the corner, Duda, Murphy, Cespedes, Duda, that's insane. They don't even have close to a threesome like that.
Do you have a problem with you guys not having home field advantage?
Not at all. 4-1 in the postseason on the road against aces, dominated.
Thanks, Elias.
By the way, the Mets faced one non-ace, really 3 non-aces. Brett Anderson against the Dodgers, and then Hendricks and Hamill against the Cubs. Blasted all of them.
Great for you.
You have no aces on the Royals. None. Game over. I got to go do an update with the real show.
Johnny Cueto.
Berman out.
Well, that's it. Now Jay Berman's walking out of the studio.
Fired up Jay Berman today.
Does he seem ticked? What a jerk. What a jerk. If it's not farts and giggles, he doesn't want to talk about it and have fun, huh?
Kind of agree with him, though.
No. You Met fans have been ridiculous. You can't take when the heat's on and the Yankee fans give you a little crap. You all bought Red Sox hats and acted like jerks for years when the Yankees were in the playoffs.
I never once wore a Red Sox hat, so don't loop me in with the rest of the Mets fans.
I'm just saying, you guys have all acted like jerks.
Once again, do not loop me, Jay Berman, and other Mets fans with the rest of them.
All right, Joe. Well, I'll tell you this. By the next Permission Granted podcast we record, the Mets may or may not be champions. Your thoughts on that?
We'll see when it comes.
All right. Ooh, a little cockiness out of Joe. All right, well, that's going to do it for a very hostile Permission Granted podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm your executive producer. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MrazCBS. You can follow Joe D and all his weightlifting pictures at
Joe D CBS. No weightlifting pictures yet.
That's right.
Soon to come.
Because he's a wuss and he's not good at working out. Okay, well, that's going to do it all for the Permission Granted podcast. Enjoy, and let's go Royals.